What's the haps on the hops? Got yeast, that's bees. This the molten hour where we talk about our drink and tell you what we think every other week. And if we get drunk, well, we might slur our speech. Got the gift of gab, the friends you wish you had. Join us for a drink, join us for a laugh. Time is never wasted, where you getting wasted. The molten hour here, people take your places. People take your places. People take your home.
One day I'm going to learn how to play piano, just like that intro. Welcome to another episode of The Malting Hour. I am Tony Golick.
And I am Brandon Winninger.
And we are your hosts for this show about beer, homebrewing, and beer. All three of those topics. That's what we discuss every week. And if you don't know that, now you know.
I would say an absent fourth would be like local businesses.
Yeah, no, you're right.
A lot of it ties into breweries, though, but you know, we have friends that have businesses, so we kind of talk about that too. So
yeah, we do talk about a lot of local stuff. We talk about food a lot. We go on rambles about personal things. It's really just a show that you and I record while drinking.
Pretty much.
Pretty cool. Well, thank you for joining us, everybody. And
hey, at least we stay like with a style or a particular subject.
There's a what's the word I'm looking for? What is it? What's the word? I can't think of it. There's like there's a theme. There's at least a theme, a constant, something that is driving the show other than us. And this episode, the driving force, is a show or a topic you and I have talked about doing for a little while since we started the show.
Yes, totally.
Which is Wisconsin's very own New Glarus. That was actually the sound of angels singing. Happy that we're drinking New Glarus. I'm happy we're drinking New Glarus.
I'm always happy to drink New Glarus.
I'm never not happy drinking New Glarus. I don't remember I do remember the first time I did. Well, for those of you who don't know, New Glarus is a brewery in Wisconsin, in New Glarus, Wisconsin.
You don't say.
Yeah, weird how that works. They opened. Oh man, I was doing all my research. I forgot when they opened up. Bottles are all over there, but they are one of the, I want to say, coolest breweries craft breweries to ever be imagined. I was listening to watching a short video today about Deb and Dan, who own, run, and operate New Glarus, and how they started, where they started from, and to get to where they're at now, having basically two facilities where they brew, package, and distribute their beer. And, it's only available in Wisconsin. They made that decision a long time ago because they tried coming to Chicago, and apparently Deb did not care for the way the business was done in Chicago. And
did they try to come?
Yeah, apparently it was here for a short amount of time, and then she yanked it all back. She was like, not today, losers. And it helped them out because they were able to grow much larger, just distributing in Wisconsin and taking care of it there.
Well, I feel like doing that, I mean, it creates that cult following, you know? And they haven't even broached like Minnesota or like
Nothing.
Michigan. But what's funny about New Glarus is like every once in a while you'll see people will post in like the, beer groups on Facebook or whatever. Like, hey, this place, in West Town of Chicago has New Glarus, on their shelf with a price point of like double what it normally costs. And I'm like, yeah, it's because it's illegal, and they're trying to pay for the fine they're going to get.
Exactly. And it's just, especially living in Chicago, how long does it take you to get to the border to buy some of this?
So it took me, I guess if you calculated the entire amount of time, it would have been an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Roughly.
So it's really not that hard to go and get New Glarus. Jeff, my neighbor Jeff,
yes,
and your friend Jeff,
one of our favorite guests.
Yeah, one of our favorite guests. Only 10.
Sorry, Clark.
Ooh. He and his family, they have Spotted Cow at the house regularly. They have a family that live up in Wisconsin. Their daughter Christina, that's her favorite beer, Spotted Cow. And actually, two of the beers that we're drinking today, she purchased for me to drink, and I brought them here to drink with you. But let's talk about the first beer that we're drinking, which as people who are listening to this show, I'm sure you're very well aware of. is their like best-selling beer.
It's a flagship, probably.
Yeah. Well, so I was. It's not. It came later.
Okay.
Well, it is. I mean, I would say it's definitely part. It's part of their Thumbprint series, which is just their regular. Right. That's the Thumbprint's all their regularly brewed beers.
No, Thumbprint's like their.
Oh, you're right.
Beers.
My bad. Sorry. Yeah, it's Spotted Cow. When I was watching this documentary, it came out a little later after they had won a prize and they had to go to London. I forget what beer they won for. Shit, but they won it, and then the story is that she saw these sheep running around when they were driving around London. They saw the sheep everywhere.
Yeah.
And she's like, I wonder if people come to Wisconsin and come to see the cows all over Wisconsin. Like, what's the Spotted Cow? And she came up with that name first before Dan actually brewed it. And he was trying to he kept going back and forth about what kind of beers that they want. What do you want to do? And then he decided, to go with the rustic roots of, back in 1850, how would beer be brewed? Like,
That's an interesting concept.
Yeah, it was really cool, and that's how they came up, because it's a farmhouse beer. So it's basically it's got the makeup. Well, not basically, but I believe the makeup of this the grain bill is very straightforward. It's like a lager, but not. You know what I mean? It's by no means does it taste like a lager, but it's very clean. And if you were to brew, try to copy that style back in 1850, where you can't do a Pilsner, because you're not going to be able to. Farmers aren't lagering; they have no way to keep it cold. So this was the best thing that they could do. And
so I was going to say, so according to their site, they classify it as a farmhouse ale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I taste.
It means it was made in a farmhouse.
Yeah, exactly. Cows and everything.
Fermented on hay.
The first time I ever had it, it's got a straw color. The first time I ever had it, it reminded me of like a cream ale almost. When I think of farmhouse ales, it's not what I think of. But in the video also, by the way, the video is on New Glarus' webpage if you guys want to know. It's the Tale of the Spotted Cow. It's like 40 minutes long. It's also a DVD they sell. It was really good. It was a really good thing to watch. And it's a very simple, as Dan said, it's a very simple beer that's also very complex. Like the grains and the hops that they use. He said very expensive hops. He didn't give away what it was that he used, but
smart. Yeah,
everybody that I know that drinks craft beer, or even who doesn't drink craft beer, or just a beer person willing to try something new, has had Spotted Cow and likes Spotted Cow. My wife likes Spotted Cow, and she's someone who's grown further away from beer as I've grown closer. It's funny how that worked out. Thanks, Laura. But yeah, what's your first experience with Spotted Cow or New Glarus? Well, let's do New Glarus then, and if it's Spotted Cow.
Honestly, I don't. So I'm trying to think back. I think I was just at a party, and some people from Wisconsin had come in, and they brought, New Glarus stuff. And I think it kind of was a combo of like, hey, try this, which was Spotted Cow. And, here's this brewery from Wisconsin. I'm like, what? Whatever. So I tried it, and I was like, holy cow, it's a solid beer.
Holy cow.
Well, and it was like a party where you're drinking like Miller Lite or like, domestic crap,
right.
Domestic stuff. I almost said crap. But then I almost said, it was a combination of craft and crap.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Domestic
craft beer, which is a thing.
It's just craft beer.
Yeah. So that was kind of my experience. Was somebody brought it and I tried it and I was like, well, this is solid. And then I'm trying to think the next one that I had. It was another, like I was dating somebody at the time that had lived near, like closer to the Wisconsin border, and they had friends that would go there all the time and just kind of bring stuff back. And that might have been the first time. I think it's called Blacktop. I think I talked about this before. Yeah. But yeah, Blacktop was like the coffee IPA.
Oh, the black IPA, I think is what it is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think so.
It was a black IPA. Yeah, black IPA, but it may have been. No, it was a black IPA. You're right. So I had that, and I was like, oh man, that's tasty. And then I had made a trip to Wisconsin, and I got into the Thumbprint series. And there was like a double IPA, and I can't remember the name of it now because I haven't seen it in a while. the Belgian Red and all that other stuff.
Yeah, they're actually when I was on their webpage today, looking at their our beer selection. They had a section where you could vote for your favorite beers, and I don't remember where it's at. And I was looking through all these beers that I had no idea they had ever made. There was an Irish stout, a chocolate stout, a cherry stout, an imperial saison, which I vaguely remember, but I had never tried it.
Okay.
But an imperial hefeweizen, which I think maybe I tried with Myke sometime. Myke, you'll have to confirm that with me. But there's just so many beers. I remember my first experience with New Glarus. I was living with some friends, and I'm not going to... The friends, I can say their names. But I'm not going to name the bar because I don't want anyone to get in trouble. But I went to... We lived above a bar. And when we went to go downstairs to hang out, they had informed us that the name of this beer was the name of the bar, but beer. We said, oh, okay. And they're like, actually... It's Spotted Cow, and we drive up to Wisconsin and buy kegs of it. We just put it on tap and call it this beer, which is the name of the bar. So we actually had access to it on tap below our apartment for a while we lived there for about a year, which was super cool.
Oh, wow.
But I'm pretty sure that was my first experience with Spotted Cow. And then as far as the other beers go, I want to say the second one that I ever tried was probably the Belgian Red or one of the other fruited beers, Serendipity or I forget what other ones they got. But yeah, so and then I started, anytime you go up to Wisconsin, I remember getting Scream, the triple IPA. I think it's right, Scream IPA or something like that.
Scream is
the triple IPA.
That was the thumbprint one that I got into.
Yes, that one's really good. And then we went to the Brew Fest up at the Great Lakes Brew Fest. Got to try Staghorn. 2 women, and their Oktoberfest, all their beers. I've still yet to have a bad beer from New Glarus, and I don't think I ever will.
So
don't try to prove me wrong.
So it sounds like, just perusing their website quick, that the black top that I loved is no longer in production.
Oh.
It's under the beers we have known and loved section.
Oh. Boy. Yeah, there's a lot in that area.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
More than that's in the other areas of like stuff we're currently making.
Well, and I like that some of these other beers that are available now, if I'm not mistaken, again, I think like the Wisconsin Cherry, I don't think that was a year-round beer, and they finally made it a year-round beer, or it graduated to a year. Yeah, the Belgian Red.
Yeah.
The Wisconsin Belgian Red. That to me is like cherry Jolly Ranchers, like liquid cherry Jolly Ranchers. It's so good. It's one of my favorite beers, and I'm really happy that it's in the 12-ounce format instead of those big 750 milliliter bottles, which is cool, to share. But it's nice, just to crack one of those. And I normally split those with somebody just because it's a sweet beer, and it really does taste like Jolly Ranchers. I love it. But
the cherry tart's good too.
Have I had the cherry tart? I don't think
Probably.
so. Maybe. That's one thing I'm going to miss about the Great Lakes Brew Fest this year is drinking all that New Glarus beer and coming back home with some New Glarus beer. Because I still got a coffee stout from this year in my refrigerator.
Nice. Yeah, that was a fun fest. Sorry, I was like, but in my head, I was thinking, well, we weren't going to get to pour this year anyway. So I'm like, it's sad.
Yeah.
It's all around sad.
It is.
We didn't get to pour last year either.
No.
We had our 1 year
One and
claim
done.
to fame, and like
Which sucks. We were so close to just making it a regular thing for
we
us
were
in
so
the
close
Grupo.
to just dominating that event every year. And
It would have been so good. Just getting bigger and better equipment, which I think we have a jockey box sitting around somewhere in a member's house. But anyway, I digress. So Spotted Cow is, if you know someone who is maybe on the fence about craft beer, or not trying, not even craft beer, but trying new beer, and you have the opportunity to introduce them to something new and something that is easy to drink, Spotted Cow to me has always been that type of beer. It's a good beer to introduce to someone who might not be
I agree.
very much into craft beer. But anyway.
I agree 100%.
Oh, man, I'm so belchy.
So our next beer up to bat is the Two Women Lager. I don't think there's anything really written on the last one, but there's a whole description on the side of this one. There probably is something on the Spotted Cow.
You know what? I'll grab it in case I need to read it. There it is. Yeah.
Well, we didn't read it, so should we read it?
Yeah. How about this? I'll do Spotted Cow first.
Okay.
Since that's what we just had. So every drop of Wisconsin's original farmhouse ale is artisan brewed and bottled by the hardworking employee owners of New Glarus Brewing Company, right here in Little New Glarus, Wisconsin. Spotted Cow adheres to the I hate trying to say Reinheitsgebot. The German purity law, using only 4 hand-selected and natural ingredients: yeast, hops, water, and malted barley. We allow yeast to remain in the bottle to enhance the fullness of flavor so it's naturally cloudy. Expect this ale to be fun, fruity, and satisfying. You know you're in Wisconsin when you see the Spotted Cow. Only Wisconsin. Daniel and Deborah Carey. Which, by the way, we should start cultivating the yeast from the bottle if we can.
You will be mine. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
You will be mine. So that was the Spotted Cow bottle label. So we're transitioning now into the Two Women Lager.
Ladies.
No, 2 women, not 2 ladies.
I know. I know that.
So the thing about... anyways, so...
What's happening to this show?
You got a lot of editing to do. Mm-hmm. So for this one... let me get on my reading.
Start the sentence again.
Let me get on my reading voice. 4,000 years before Christ, Sumerian women created the divine drink of beer. Viking women brewed in Norse society. European alewives were so successful as cottage brewers they were taxed. How dare they? Artisanal women lost their domination of the daily ritual of brewing during the Industrial Revolution. Today's brewing trade is controlled by men.
Jerks.
The collaboration of 2 craft companies, both led by women, New Glarus Brewing and Weyermann Malting, is unique. You hold the result, 2 women. A classic country lager, brewed with Weyermann's floor-malted Bohemian malt and Hallertau Mittelfrau hops. A tempting and graceful classic lager found only in Wisconsin. Daniel and Deborah Carey. www.newglarusbrewing.com.
Hey, can you read the government warning now on the side, too? I think we used to do that in the old episodes.
Did we?
Yeah.
According to the Surgeon General.
Yeah, I remember when I tried this for the first time, I was not very much into lagers at that point. It was, I drink craft beer now, so I only drink IPAs and stouts, and that's it. And anything else that's not that, it sucks.
Yep.
Because, that's how a lot of us kind of started. We got away from yellow fizzy beer and wanted to try something different. When we found it, we didn't want to go back to the lagers.
Yeah.
Now, fucking love this beer.
Yeah, that was so. I said yep like a couple times, but anyways, I was trying to interject. But that is a big thing. Is like you associate a lager with, the traditional domestic big beer.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me. It is hard to separate it. Like if I go somewhere and I'm looking for a craft beer and I see lager, I traditionally will shy away from that. I will look for something different. And I mean, like, IPAs aren't different, but, like, if it's an IPA I've never had, or a double IPA, or triple IPA, or, like, a stout, I'll go that route, but I always forget that, these craft lagers, I mean, as much as they're similar, they're completely different.
Yeah, correct. I think I had this, I may have told this story again in this show already, but I've had a conversation before about, why would I buy craft lagers when I can get, mass-produced lagers that I already enjoy, for a cheaper price. Quantity over quality, unfortunately, is mainly where that goes. So it really takes, and maybe that's shitty of me, but I'm just being honest. Like, I remember I had Bell's Lager of the Lakes, and I liked it. It was good. You can tell it was different. There's a hop bite to it, and then someone gave me some other like mass-produced lager, and I was doing side by side, and I'm like, yeah, there's a difference, but at the end of the day, I didn't really prefer one over the other, and I feel like lager is just kind of straightforward for me, the flavors that I get. Maybe that's, my dumb palate. But, there's other types of, lager type beers that I really like. But if just like a regular like American lager, it doesn't really matter. But this one in particular, and I'm trying to think I've had some lagers recently from Metropolitan and Dovetail, which not American lagers, Dovetail obviously, but those types of lagers I really like. Those I will seek out as well as this. But give me some High Life, baby.
Well, and that's a big thing though. Is like if you're going to do a lager, you have to do it well.
Yeah.
And they have done it well.
Yeah. There's no like skunky after taste in my mouth from drinking this.
No, and it's not bitter. It's not overly sweet.
It's it's kind of a nice balance of getting that kind of malty flavor and a hint of sweetness and the fruitiness from the yeast and everything. It's really nice. I could drink this a lot.
Yeah, and
if this was regularly available in Chicago, sorry, I feel like I've cut you off 20 times in a row now. If this was readily available in Chicago, I live just a little bit closer to Wisconsin, even though I know we just said an hour 15 minutes. I almost prefer this over Spotted Cow.
Oh,
even after my giant rant of how much I don't want to pay for craft lagers.
No, if I had a choice, I would this over Spotted Cow.
Yeah.
Just because it's to me it's a little more full bodied.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that exactly.
And I feel like with Spotted Cow, like don't get me wrong, I feel like I could just drink that all day. Like if it was a hot day, I could sit there, I could just drink Spotted Cow all day, and then feel like crap.
Spotted Cow is like Simon Cowell.
Yeah, I will feel
dressed
like
as a cow.
I don't want to say I'll feel like crap at the end of the day, but I drank a crap ton of beer, and like it's just because I wanted to drink it.
Yeah.
This I can drink and continually enjoy.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that with I'm looking it up right now, which maybe do they put their ABVs on their bottle? I don't think they do. No, I found it. Let's see. Yeah, it's a pale lager. It's 5% ABV, so it's really quite. I mean, it's not crazy. I'm sorry, I'm looking at all my friends that have checked it in, and everybody's really giving it high praise. Yeah, a pale lager is something I haven't tried to do yet. I tried to do the American light lager. Mike's done his lager, which is very tasty. I think it ended up being more of a. I won't break this chair, I promise. I think Mike ended up just doing not a light lager, but a standard American lager.
Okay.
But at 5%, so it's a little higher than your standard American lager that you'd be drinking. But I agree with you. There is a nice body to it. Hot day, ice cold, slamming these all day long. I could do that with Spotted Cow, but I think it would feel much more full.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I would enjoy this and drink less of it. Like I would, drink it longer, like sip it longer versus Spotted Cow. I feel like I can just kick those back.
Because interesting.
The mouthfeel on Spotted Cow is not as heavy.
Yeah.
It goes down a lot easier, I would say. Again, we're talking. It's a very minuscule difference, but I feel like with Spotted Cow, like I could just throw that back. There's more, there's more floralness. And it's not even a lot, but I get a lot more floralness in the taste of this.
Even in
that slows me down.
Even the aroma
would slow me down just a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I could see that. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like for me, I wish I would have saved some Spotted Cow. Next time when we gotta remember if we ever
can open another one. Side by side.
But we still got some beer to drink. And they're two completely different types of styles of beer. It's just obviously you and I are comparing them because they're both easy to drink, and where would you end up? I think I don't know. We'll do a drinking contest one day between you and I of how many we're gonna knock back in one sitting, and who feels more full and bloated at the end.
You have to remember, one was also made in a farm.
You're right. Interesting.
This one doesn't have the hay and cow taste to it.
But the color is beautiful, just like straw. And obviously,
The color on this one's awesome too.
Yeah, with this one being a lager, it's nice and clear. I'm looking at it, I can see all the way, to the little bit of head that's left
Now,
on it.
is this unfiltered?
No, Spotted Cow is unfiltered.
Correct.
Um,
Because I was like, this one's like super clear. Mm-hmm. Like, for a craft beer, being this clear is pretty awesome. And
I've come across a lot of those lately, and maybe I'm just noticing it more because of all the hazy beers that I buy, like those big, orange juice looking double dry hop beers, which I love. But some of the other ones that I bought recently, I'm like...
Fermented with flour. Flour.
Ooh, the old Clark Fettridge move. Give away your secret again. Some of these other beers, double IPA that I got from 18th Street, King Reaper, I think is what it's called. That one is pretty clear from what I remember. And same thing with the Your Wish is Granted from Hot Butcher. That is also pretty clear. So it's I think I'm noticing clear beer is looking a little bit more clear perspective-wise because of all the hazy beers that I drink.
I can see that.
Well, Brandon, I already know. I'm not going to ask. I think it's time to take a break. Am I right? How close am I?
is.
How close am I? How close am I this time?
28 minutes. 28 and a half minutes.
I don't even know what's going to play, but we're right back.
That's what gets us in hell. Just when you've been so near. Same old game that he's playing. His souls are never fair. Nobody wanna look back. Everybody wanna get out of that right one at a time. Where's the film? Yes, I'm a film. Let's name it a close over there. That's crime. 999 if you really want the truth. Down 999 if you can see it through. He is Jack the Ripper. He's ordinary crook. Call in Maxwell murder for you. Maxwell guy and his plan. He knows the John is plan. Drop the rock before you bought it. Since Maxwell knows you got it. Nobody wanna look back. Everybody wanna get out of that one at a time. Where's the film? John will film. Name it a close over there. That's crime. 999 if you really want the truth. Dial 999 if you can see it through. He ain't Jack the Ripper. He's ordinary crook. Call in Maxwell murder for you. Dial 999 if you really want the truth. Dial 999 if you can see it through. He ain't Jack the Ripper. He's ordinary crook. Call in Maxwell murder for you.
You can really smell the apple on this.
Yeah, it's kind of smells like apple juice. Not in a off aroma or off flavor.
No, to the point where, like, if somebody gave this to me and told me it was a cider, I wouldn't.
I think, yeah. Like, it's not dry like a cider, though.
No. No, it's
Good body to it, sweet.
juicy, almost like it's almost got like an IPA mouthfeel, but like
Sure, I can see that. Yeah, it's unfiltered.
yeah, look, it's hazy, dude.
Yeah, it looks like apple juice.
It does. And we're back with another. We're not with another episode. It's the same episode. We are back.
We're back with another episode that is continuing from the break. And if you're just joining us on the second half, welcome. You might want to go back and listen to the first half because we've been talking about New Glarus beers.
Duh.
We started with Spotted Cow and Two Women Lager. And Brandon, what have we made our way to?
We are now into the Berliner Apfel.
Why don't you tell the folks what that's all about?
Well, first, like, I would love to clone this fucking, like, to do this would be awesome. But anyways, if we're going to reading the description of the bottle.
Yeah, by the way, this will be not a quick conversation on this beer, but I'm almost done with what I poured.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I should have brought 2 bottles.
So the previous 2 bottles we had one each. And then this bottle we split. So reading the bottle, some people paint, some sing, others write. I brew. Daniel Carey. A few times a year, we cut Dan loose to brew whatever he chooses.
I thought that was just the description. Nope. That was going to be it.
A few times a year, we cut Dan loose to brew whatever he chooses, always handcrafted. The bottle you hold is brewed for the adventurous soul. This is a very limited edition, and we make no promises to ever brew this style again.
Ooh, threatened.
Inspired by Berliner fairies, Dan sourced Wisconsin fresh apples from the Kickapoo Valley.
Kickapoo.
He crushed the 2018 harvest and nurtured a spontaneous fermentation for 1 year to create this enchanted Berliner Apfel.
Jesus.
Sparkling bubbles prance with effervescent notes of green apples and pear.
Yeah, that's right. That is 100% accurate.
That is like the description. This is a delicate creation to delight the senses. A brewer's alchemy of barley and apples magically creates the palest golden beer imaginable to sparkle as sunlight dances. Thank you for supporting the arts. Daniel and Deborah Craig.
Carrie.
Carrie.
I said Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig.
Oh man, that guy's awesome.
James Bond.
Daniel and Deborah Carey. Edit.
Only in Wisconsin.
It doesn't say that, though.
Son of a bitch.
This bottle does not say only in Wisconsin.
Well, I'm going to look for that at Jewel when I go shopping. Yeah, this one I had never had before. Jeff's daughter, Christina, brought some of these back a couple weeks ago, and she just brought me some again today, which is very awesome. So, Brandon, just know that there's another bottle with your name on it, buddy.
Sweet. This is delicious.
Yeah. And speaking of which, I still have that Dino S'mores coffee for us.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't forgotten. But yeah, this beer, so I tried 2 beers with her, Nectar and this one. They both have this apple-y type flavor. This one, clearly, with it being an apple beer, basically, the description really sums it up. Like the apple, the pear, and like you were saying, it's kind of got like an IPA mouthfeel to it. And they said sparkling bubbles, but I'm going to go back in here real quick.
A little bit.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's... See, that's weird. Like you were saying, when you said IPA mouthfeel, I think I knew what you meant. There was like a good body to it.
Yep.
But those little bubbles, now that I'm trying it, it's still kind of there, and maybe it's because the juice, like from the apples in there. But I mean, it just tastes like apple and pear.
Yeah,
and that's what I love about the New Glarus fruit beers. All of them are like what they say they are. It is like straight up. If you're expecting fruit, you are going to get fruit. Every single one of them. They're just so good, and they're really refreshing.
And I feel like I get more pear than anything.
Yeah.
Like I get the apple, like it's the first like kind of hit, and then it's just straight pear, like the rest.
Yeah, it's like, and the smell.
And that's awesome.
I smell apple. The first taste is apple. Then there's the pear that's kind of like full taste. But now the aftertaste in my mouth is like after you've eaten like a Granny Smith apple. Like a green apple. It's just kind of lingering in my mouth right now.
No, I completely agree.
Now, let's see. Let's go to my Untapped app and double check this as well. Not double check, but actually look at it, because I'm not sure what the ABV on this is. I'm always surprised when I try these beers from them that like, oh, that's it? Or, wow, that's a lot. Yeah, Berliner Apfel. Yeah, this is 4.2%. Apparently, I've never checked this in. Interesting. But Brandon, you have 3 seconds ago. Yeah, this is, it's so good. And it is available right now. I know that much because I was able to get some. And if I get a chance to go up to Wisconsin or decide to take a trip up to Wisconsin, I think I'm going to grab some more of these to hold on to. Nectar, which I didn't bring, which you and I can share that another time as well. I'm just holding on to a whole bunch of beers for you right now on the side door of my beer fridge.
Good.
It's pretty cool. Welcome to my house. Yeah, that one is also equally as good. It has an apple taste to it, but that one also has some honey, and I think it's orange blossom honey or something like that. It's that sweetness from honey is in there, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about this Apfel Berliner Weiss.
Yes.
Or Berliner Apfel.
Yep.
So man, yeah, it would be nice to figure out a way to brew something like this, to have that spontaneous fermentation from the apples, and
Well, and
for
I think,
a year, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Berliners take a long time to do anyway.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the key is juicing the apples and doing this whole thing, like getting that spontaneous fermentation off of that.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know, like, if that fermentation then played a part into, like, they brewed a base beer, tossed that in there, and, like, you know.
Yeah, what exactly happened when?
Why'd you do it this way? Why are you so good? Like, this, I think, like, my wife would love this. Like, totally.
Yeah, I've got 5 of these left, I think, now. So they come in 4-packs. Just like the Serendipity, the Rhubarb, the Scream IPA, the Wisconsin Belgian Cherry.
Yeah.
All of those fun beers that they make.
And your wife likes cider, so...
Yeah. She I believe she took a sip of this one as well, and she really liked it. Yeah. She thought it was really good. So if we can just figure that out, or if we can, just go up there and be like, hey, can you just show us how you did this? That'd be really cool. How many apples do we need for a 5-gallon batch?
Yeah, and by the way, if you have not been up there, like, and I think they've won awards for this, like being like one of the most sanitary breweries. And I've gone in there and just like walked through and just how clean it is. Everything, like the tour area, like, you walk through, you go to see the brewery, and it's just like, it's a production that is like set in stone, and they are like, there isn't shit all over the place. So it's like they know what they're doing, and they're doing it well.
Yeah, doing it well. Yeah, that was also part of that documentary. He talked about like the sanitary and how clean Dan, when he was a kid, when he would go on road trips with his family, and they'd stop at breweries, and he was just impressed by that. He's a science and engineering guy. So that's his mind frame. So all that stuff is very important to them. But yeah, man, it's a great beer. I'm glad that you got a chance to have this. I'm glad I got a chance to try it. Thanks to Jeff's daughter, Christina.
Totally delicious.
Yeah. That's a good one. And at 4.2%, I mean, that is a beer I can drink on its own. Normally the fruited beers, I'm like, nah, I don't really want a whole lot except for my fruited sour because it's only 2%. This and the Belgian cherry. This one is one I can have 1 or 2 of them before I'm like, okay, I don't need to drink the whole
Yeah,
thing.
and I was gonna say, like, if I was ranking them like as a like flavor profile wise, this is probably my favorite so far.
Yeah.
But like drinkability, I'm kind of in the same camp.
Yeah.
Like after about 2 of these,
It's like I really don't know if I want another one.
it's the sweetness gets to you.
Yeah, it would be a lot after a while.
Yeah.
It's we I think, what was it, like 5 episodes ago, we said we were gonna do a ranking up to 212 or something.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's the 3rd time I'm mentioning it. Yeah. Maybe one day we'll remember it, but this isn't a show about ranking. It's more just about the beers themselves and drinking. Yeah, and us talking about it, and you listening. Thanks for listening, everybody. We really do appreciate it. And Brandon, thank you for revamping and actually creating a themaltinghour.com now instead of it just going to SoundCloud. I finally checked it out on an actual computer instead of on my phone, and it was way more user-friendly, only because, we're still transitioning and figuring that out. Actually, why don't you start with the pour there? He just opened. I'll read the bottle on this one. I haven't had this beer in a while. This one, oh man, this is nice looking. This one, last time I had it, friends of ours brought it over for our housewarming, and it was already aged for a couple years. And then I sat on it for at least 2 more years. So I think it was like a 4 or 5 year bottle of Serendipity from New Glarus. It's the Happy Accident Fruit Ale. So here we go. Wow, this is a lot more to read. I should have given this one to you. Here we go. So it starts off with the same thing. Some people paint, some sing, others write. I brew. Daniel Craig, Daniel Carey, New Glarus. Same thing, a few times a year. Let's get down to the bottom. Here we go. Severe drought. We shared the farmer's horror as Wisconsin's cherry crop failed. Dan bought what cherries he could. The apple crop farmers... Man, I need glasses, I think.
Fared better.
Thank you. Oh, are you reading the same thing?
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Fared better. then joy. Okay, maybe you should just read it. Fuck me.
A Grand Wisconsin cranberry harvest. What will Dan brew with apples, cranberries, and cherries? Oh my. You hold the happy accident of Wisconsin's favorite fruit aged in oak with an almost magical wild fermentation. Serendipity is a wondrous celebration that sparkles your senses and dances across your palate. A kaleidoscope of flavor discovered by accident in a sour ale. Okay.
I'm getting old. My eyes are not what they used to be for very small letters that are far away. Man, I was not very nice about my first check-in about this beer.
Really?
Interesting. Let's see. When did I check this in? 6 years ago, October 1st, 2014. I said, reminds me of Welch's sparkling grape juice.
Ooh.
And I gave it a 2.5. What a dick. Now, it's time to rectify that shit. Kind of smells like Welch's sparkling grape. I don't mean that in a negative. Actually, it doesn't. I smell cherries.
Yeah.
Whoa. That tastes more cherry than anything.
Yep.
It reminds me of the cherry red. Their Belgian cherry red.
Yeah, so what is it? Apples, cranberries, and cherries. But yeah, man, those cherries just power through.
Wow, I don't remember it tasting like this, and I am gonna well, I'm not gonna change that check-in, but checking it in this time.
Yeah.
Gosh, hold on. This is the grossest part of the episode of the shows.
Listen to us sip.
Yeah, and swish around in our mouths, and it's all. It's cherry, Jolly Rancher, cranberry. Yes. I don't get apple. I do get cranberry in the end, but that cherry Jolly Rancher, like I was talking about from the Wisconsin Belgian Red, is it called Wisconsin Belgian Red or just the Belgian Red?
Well, I think it says Belgian Red. No, it's Wisconsin Belgian Red. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was gonna check my Untapped app and see what I had checked it in. Yep, Wisconsin Belgian Red, which I think I gave.
I was like, no, I've got a bottle somewhere.
Yeah, man, I checked this. The first time I had that was July 18th, 2014. So, whoa, almost 6 years to the day. It was the last time I had the cherry red. Damn, should have had it. And the picture is me drinking it on Vito's backyard. Yeah, this does not. I don't remember it tasting like this, and I am very happy with the way this tastes. There's a lot of cherry, a bit of cranberry, maybe underlying apple somewhere in there. I'm gonna go back in.
I mean, I think like cherry and cranberry are so dominant flavors.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe it's sweetness from apples, I guess.
Probably.
I'm thinking of, or maybe we can't taste the apple so well because of we had the apple.
Well, I'm saying like cranberries and cherries can be tart.
Yeah.
So the sweetness I think we're getting is from the apples.
Feel a little burn in my chest that I get sometimes from cranberry juice from years of not taking care of like acid reflux and drinking double IPAs for like 3 years straight. Yeah, that is. I love this. Man, I'm happy. Ooh, we should have. Man, all this mixing of beers and stuff. We could have taken some of that Buller and Apfel with the Serendipity, mixed a little bit of that together. Well, we know what we're doing next time.
Next time.
Yeah, there's always a next time. Well,
there's always another after the final pour.
Hey, where we take all the new Glarus beers and mix it into one glass and see who pukes first. None of us. It would be a delicious, delicious treat.
About the 45-minute mark.
Perfect. That's a 45-minute burp. So Brandon, we basically discussed. Oh, one of the things I also wanted to, that was mentioned on one of the bottles, is that their focus at New Glarus, with it being employee owned, and they were offered numerous times to be bought out by AB InBev. And please, if you get the chance, watch the Tale of the Spotted Cow on YouTube or on their website, or buy the DVD for $15. It is pretty interesting. They got offered like 2 or 3 times by Anheuser-Busch to be bought out.
Oh, wow.
And she basically just like she brought them to the tour and everything, and then showed them the door, kicked their butts out and went back to work because where they come from, they didn't have money and they started this, and so they really are employee focused, and that's an employee owned company, and they're doing really good things, and they even got I think it was 1.6 or 1.7 million dollars for being like so crazy energy efficient,
Yeah.
which is amazing. So not only are they providing for having this business where they're providing for themselves and taking care of their employees, they compare it to like an upside down pyramid, where at the top is actually the bottom. So the owners are at the bottom and you work your way up to the top where that's where all your employees are. You take care of your employees, you end up with a great product and people who are willing to put in that extra time, people who actually care about what they're doing. And at the end of the day, when you're making beer and you got people who care about you, well, you pretty much hit the jackpot as far as a career goes. So that has always been one of the things I've also really enjoyed about.
So how do we go
New
work
Glarus.
for New Glarus?
There's a thing online where I think we can apply, so we can quit this stupid podcast that we do. Just joking. I love this podcast. We'd keep doing it. We could just apply, man. Let's see what happens.
All right.
But any final impressions on either New Glarus or the beers or all of it?
So, just in New Glarus in general, the experience of going there is pretty awesome. And I know they have said, like, despite like Wisconsin standards at this point, like they're locked down. I don't think they're doing tours right now.
They're not. Yeah.
They're just focusing on producing amazing beer, and they do that well. But when things get better and open up and they loosen their restrictions, like it is totally a place you need to check out because you drive up there, it looks like a castle. Like it's like driving up to a castle, and the town itself is pretty awesome. The one time I had gone to the town, well, I think I've been there like twice. But the one time I stayed in the town for a while, I went and I was like, let's hit some of the local bars. I did a little bar hop.
Did they have any New Glarus beers on tap?
Every bar, it was like only New Glarus. But the awesome thing is they all have beer to go too. Like you sit at the bar and there's like a rack behind you of just like 6-packs that you can just pick up and go.
That's awesome.
Like the experience there is just phenomenal. And I'd gone for I can never remember the name. Is it the Beer, Bacon, and Cheese Festival? I think that's what it is.
I think that's the name of it.
I'd gone there for that once.
You and I were really considering going this year.
Oh, yeah.
Together.
And it's an amazing fest. There's hotels out there that kind of are throwbacks to the old Swiss days. I stayed at one before, and they do all like you stay at the hotel, you can add on, like, you get the buffet every night, and they do just, like, this spread of, like, just Swiss-style food.
I'm so sad I'm not
So
there.
awesome. And then just the scenery is beautiful. And I think, what the last time I was there, New Glarus had 2 locations, and it was their original location, which is, like, a tiny, like, looks like a garage, almost, like a really big garage with some add-ons in a parking lot. And then their new place, which is just like, it's almost, I don't want to say a mountaintop, but you drive up a little bit and then it's like just this huge spread up there. And it's pretty awesome. And it's definitely worth a visit. So that's my experience with New Glarus. They provide an overall like great experience. If you go there, and their beer you take away is just flipping awesome, man.
Yeah, I like we said earlier about going to the Great Lakes Brew Fest, I looked forward to going up there because I would always bring back beer. Even though we drank a bunch of beer, and then normally we'd go and drink more beer after the fest, and then wake up and regret nothing. But on our way back, I'd always grab a bunch of beer and cheese to bring back home. And I'm sad I'm not gonna be able to go to that fest this year, but I think I am going to make the trip up there because that's where I can get the Oktoberfest, and I think Staghorn comes out around that time, and all the other beers that they release in the fall is, to me, that fest was like the end of summer for me.
No, that beer fest was the Beer, Bacon, whatever fest happens in June every year.
Yeah, so that being like the beginning, that would have been great to do.
Yeah.
Do that and then go to Great Lakes Beer
Oh,
Fest.
yeah.
Great Lakes Beer Fest.
Yep.
That was always the end of summer for me.
Yep.
So I think I'll make my way back up there, and grab some beer. I've been talking about wanting to go to New Glarus for a while. Myke who's finally on an episode, our number one fan, thanks, Mike. He got engaged there, so New Glarus has even though they do not distribute here in Chicago, most people that I know have a very close relationship with that beer and the brand, and we all look forward to drinking it when we have it. And I will say this, I have aged the Wisconsin, Belgian, Cherry, and Serendipity. They taste great. It does not, it's not a beer to be aged, I guess, but I kind of treated it like wine, but every time, talking I think I said 5 years was for the Serendipity, and then that wasn't the one that tasted like Welch's grape juice, by the way. I didn't check that one in. But the Belgian cherries I've held on to for a couple of years. You still have a big format bottle. Now they're in the 12 ounces. I think Mike even has some 12 ounce for a couple of years ago. So, yeah, New Glarus, keep doing what you guys do. You rule. We love you. We can't wait where Brandon and I can come up there together, hold hands, and skip through the brewery. And
maybe do an episode up there.
That would be great. I would absolutely love that. Speaking of which, there's a couple of breweries in mind that we're trying to get in touch with that we'll be doing. So the Hulls Lager episode was so much fun that we started reaching out to some other breweries. And just expect a couple more of those on the way sooner than later.
Totally.
I think we're going to forego the Christmas in July because, well, by the time this episode's done, July is going to be ending. Yep. So we'll save Christmas for Christmas this year.
Yep.
Well, you got anything else to say, buddy?
No, thanks everyone for listening. We definitely appreciate it. And again, I'm just going to push, if you get a chance when New Glarus reopens, that's the place to go, man. It is... if you live in the city, I know a lot of our listeners are in the city, but if you get a chance, man, and you haven't been there, check it out. And it's awesome.
Yeah, and I have not been up there, and as I said too, even if you right now, if you just want to grab some New Glarus, just go right over the border. It's a quick drive. Grab some beers. You won't be disappointed. Look for the mix packs. They're awesome. The mix packs are always great because you get some spotted cows, you get some 2 women in there, and then the last time I got the coffee stout in there as well. And Moon Man. Ooh, we didn't even touch on Moon Man. Oh, one of the greatest pale ales ever made. I put it up there with Sierra Nevada's pale ale.
Oh, see, you know what? That was available, and I passed on that.
I saved those for my last beers, except for the coffee stout that I left in the mix pack.
Right.
Oh no, I take that back. They were the first beers that I drank because I love them so much. It's a pale ale. It's great. Yeah. Well, Brandon, I love you, buddy.
Love you too, Tony.
Always a good time. I love doing this show with you, and thank you to everybody who listens and continues to support us. We appreciate it, and we're gonna continue to keep bringing you some sweet, sweet shows. And
yeah,
that's it. That's all we can offer you right now. Maybe one day those stickers and coasters we have will be available. We'll see. We're still working on that.
Or just hit us up. And, if you're nice enough, we'll send some to you.
That's true. And if you got, if you have any recommendations for breweries, beers, shows, ideas, please email us at themaltinghour@gmail.com or hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all The Malting Hour, at The Malting Hour. Just, we're everywhere, man.
We are The Malting Hour.
Yeah, that is us. So that's it. Till next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.